And now welcome back. You're still watching iBrand Daybreak, and of course now our focus for today. President Bola Tinubu signed the 28.7 trillion naira 2024 appropriation bill into law. Speaking after signing the document, the president said the implementation of the budget will be efficiently pursued and vigorously monitored. The top priorities of the budget are defense and internal security, job creation, macroeconomic stability, improved investment environment, human capital development, poverty reduction, and social security. Now, to further discuss this with us in the studio is Ziggy Ibe. He's a political analyst and social commentator. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go straight into it. The new signed budget has been the talk, of the town since on Monday. So let's quickly go through some of the words, that actually came out. Now, President Tinubu actually said, implement budget or face dismissal, while the ministers actually came out to say we won't use CBN loans to fund Nigeria's 2024 budget. And the Labour Party, which is the opposition party, said it's a display of Tinubu's government disdain to Nigerians. So I want to ask you now, what's your take generally, on the signed budget?
Thank you. We've discussed this on this same platform when the budget was presented last year, and we all were breathtaking, awaiting the details of the budget, and now we have them. I don't think most times what I think about budgeting and the implementation is about the necessity to actually accurately appropriate money as where they are needed. He has said that it's going to be budget of efficiency and it will be well monitored. I hope so. But the way we are looking at it, I think there are so many clauses to it. Adeola, who chaired the committee on this budget items, had actually said that certain areas they focus on was because there were constraints on what they need to do and how best to do them. We have a very lean IGR, the internally generated revenue to the government at the center and even at the states are very lean. So coming up with such a bogus budget that might not see the light of the items specified is worrisome, and it should worry those who are implementing this. Soon we'll start having budget defense by all the MDAs and all that. And each time budget is being presented and certain amount of money is being appropriated to various MDAs, are we in reality or are we looking at issues that will not actually see the light of the day? Because the way it is, look at the presentation on its own, is laughable, very laughable. Because how can an arm of government appropriate all the so-called budget to themselves? In fact, when I was reading some areas that were budgeted for the Senate buildings and all that, I saw newspapers. I saw, in fact, flimsy items that don't need to take large chunk of that money appropriated to that agency. And one will want to ask, are we joking here? Is this money going to actually be given or have the light for which they were made out to correct? Adeola, I listened to some part of Adeola when he was saying that they will make sure some of the money that will be got for this will be really put into use. How do you put some money into use when the budget for the National Assembly is far more than areas that need attention? Is it not laughable? It's very laughable.
Okay.
Like Tinubu has said, I've heard his own, but then who monitors the items of the budget? who monitors it. He has set up a committee that will go about monitoring the items of the budget and all that. But how do we caution the effect of so many areas that are deficit? We just read recently that humanitarian minister, that was a minister that was taken for last few months, got about 17.3 alleged. Is that what we are going to be living in? I think the community of nations should see us serious, because each country that actually will have a higher trajectory should start from these budgeting allocations, because that's where you see sources where MDAs are being implemented, where areas of growth are being monitored. And if you appropriate such amount of money and at the end nothing is got from it, it's laughable and worrisome.
All right, I really appreciate your sincere submission, especially when it comes to the appropriation of the the budget, because before now your position on the area of this government has always been as a trustee. You've always believed that Tinubu and his administration meant well for Nigerians. But looking at the budget, I like to be very, very honest. Now let's look at the area where it concerns the critical sector of the economy. I'm talking about where the chairman of the Appropriation Committee, in the person of Adeola Solomon, stated in defense of this budget that the government is doing everything in its care to make sure that efforts are being intensified, especially when it comes to the unification of the exchange rate. Let's pause there, because I know for a great extent this pertains to people who are into businesses, people who need to get the FX to be able to buy stuff outside the shores of this country and bring back for the sake of doing business. I was at the black market yesterday just to obtain $150, and the exchange rate was 1,220 to the dollar, whereas the interbank rate was 891 naira and 90 kobo. Now tell me, of what relevance is the unification, especially when this budget has been passed? That's number one. Number two, you're talking about intensifying efforts to make sure that this budget covers the removal of fuel subsidy. Now let's go back into time. As at August 2023, the federal government paid a sum of 169.4 billion naira on subsidy. Now my question is, why is this government having a penchant so much that they like lying to Nigerians, especially with the removal of subsidy when it is not? Those are my two questions for you.
Thank you. The sincerity of every government is what drives the economy. And each time we have a government being sincere to the people and actually wants to work for the people, everybody would seem to be carried along in the same direction. Adeola chaired the committee that actually see to the light of this budget. And in between, I've read through the lines of, I would like to write a part here. And Solomon, I'm quoting his word now, Solomon declared, again, we did some external consultation, most especially in the areas of benchmark, petroleum resources and all. Now, the point I'm trying to bring out here, every budget is predicated on the oil benchmark. And over the past years, we've seen plummeting of the oil revenues in Nigeria. How have we been coping? Hence, we start having government trying to placate areas that are very, very unfriendly. We start having government grappling with a lot of things, then start having so many external borrowings. Now, no country quarrels with, or nobody quarrels with borrowing from a government. What people quarrel with is the actual usage of that money borrowed. But then it becomes so worrisome and troubling when you borrow to consume, to eat. Even as individual, even if you are home, if you borrow to consume, you are in trouble. But if you borrow to actually put in place infrastructure or to invest and wait in return for the gains of that investment is wonderful and balancing. But then, you and I will quarrel with this because we have historicity where budgeting has always been messed up by those who are the gatekeepers, those who play this game, because they are not truthful to Nigerians. And when Bola Tinubu was coming in, I go to your part now. When Bola Tinubu was coming in, we felt that having been a governor, having been a senator, having been a governor, and now being graduated to being a president, he knows better. In all angles, he has interfaced with every strata of the economy. He has interfaced with every nook and crannies of the country. He has known what poverty is all about. Now he knows all the governance. We know in this country that governance is expensive, and look at it. Each time he has gone to so many places to campaign, it is all about governance. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming. Okay. I'm coming. I'm building around there.
Okay.
Now it is all about trying to cut down the cost of governance, because if actually cost of governance is cut down to a minimal level, we will not have certain areas that will lack in budgeting and implementation. No. But it's because, like, we have National Assembly now trying to appropriate so much larger chunk of the budget into this thing. Now your question is this. Now, I've said something about Bola Tinubu, who would want to. I supported him, and I know the trajectory where he was coming from, knowing full well that having occupied these two lofty positions, because those positions are areas where you must have interfaced with every Nigerian, poor, the needy, the indigent, and all that. So he should know better. It is too early. It is still in the morning for us to begin to say he has done this, he has done. No, he has presented the budget. This is the first his budget. This is the very first budget he has presented since he assumed office. Let's look at how they are going to implement it. Because if you and I are here interrogating, I'm coming, sir. I'm not talking about the interrogating what this money should. Ours is to look at it and say what was appropriated here shouldn't be. It should be this lean. It should be small.
Why I'm saying just a moment. Why I'm saying this is because the first thing he said as soon as he got inaugurated was that fuel subsidy is gone.
Yes.
Following that, these 7 months, if I'm not mistaken, down the trajectory, fuel subsidy is still being paid for. You and I were also here when he also made statement that the currency is being, especially in fuel subsidy, is being stabilized. Now the question is, what is used as an instrument to stabilize the prices of fuel? That's the question you've not addressed.
Okay. Now let me
okay. So can you tell us what exactly is happening in between that is making the fuel price stabilize when market forces determine the price of commodity?
Oh well, I'm not the spokesperson for NNPC.
You have been an advocate for Tinubu's administration, so don't shy away.
I'm not. But the issue remains that the NNPC determines what gets to the market and what needs to be paid for a particular product. That's one. Two, the market forces, as we speak, determines the prices per petroleum liter and all that. Okay, and if you, that's why I don't want
subsidy is still being paid for still.
I
just gave you a background, Mr.
I don't think so.
I just gave you a background knowledge about August.
Now,
the report brought forward as at August 169.4 billion.
August.
Yet we are still saying subsidy is gone.
Before now, the subsidy is being paid every month.
Yet subsidy is gone.
Every month.
Yet subsidy is gone.
No, before then. Subsidy is being paid every month. Now, if subsidy was paid as at August, we have June, July, and don't forget, the subsidy removal was in July because it was captured in last year's budget. That subsidy will be paid until June when the new government comes in. But Tinubu didn't remove subsidy. What they did was they reinforcing the belief that subsidy has been removed.
And we saw the skyrocketing of petroleum products. And you said subsidy wasn't gone.
It was off by June. Now listen. Let me tell you something. Now the subsidy removal was predicated on the new budget. That in the next budget, because budget is a yearly ritual, and in the next budget, subsidy will not be captured in the next budget.
Then why did we experience the astronomical price?
I don't think so. You just said August. August till now is about 4-5 months ago.
Okay, can you address the issue of the forex, the unification of the forex?
Why do we still have IE window, as we are told? Yes. You see, when we enter, look, there's something I blame the leaders most times. Speak less and do more. But you see, this media sensations, media paparazzi and all that, it doesn't call for all the... Each time you walk, just like recently we were talking about Ojo and what he's doing in his ministry. You don't talk to him. I know he was telling us that, look, we'll be chased about by influencers, media people and all that. I said, look, what you do is that let it happen before you release it. And he has been following it. He has been doing it. And he's working. So some of our leaders, they like coming to media.
People, right?
It might be exciting to them.
But in the real sense of it, it's mere a propaganda. Because it's never seen the light of day.
But let me even tell you, in the past, I've been in this country for good time.
Yeah.
By special grace. And it is in the time. So many things we are witnessing now. The media community that is very obvious now. Sometimes we are not.
Let's talk about the issue of the forex, because Adeola in his statement said this budget would address it. And I told you earlier on that as at yesterday, a $150 was exchanged at the rate of 1,220. And tell me how, in its sense, does it address it?
Look, we are talking about budget being presented and passed into law.
Okay.
You are jumping into being implemented now.
Yes.
The implementation comes after the budget itself. We are on pro it now. And what it means is that we will now begin to see how they are going to implement the dollar imbroglio, how they are going to implement the issues that has been very toxic around dollar issue or dollar ecosystem. Then we are going to see, we are talking about implementation proper. But let me tell you, this discussion will not end until we begin to see how agencies, government bodies and all that will begin to drive their own offices. And that is the implementation proper.
Then when you talk about implementation, I hope you're not also taking out the conversation of local content.
Oh, sure.
Because by the time we shift away from local content to now relying heavily on the West to give us everything in terms of consumption, how will this budget see the light of day when it comes to the unification of the FX?
In my earlier submission, I told you that,
yes,
look, I worry more about implementations because it is all about the contents of the budget.
Okay.
The contents of the budget might excite those who listen to it. Might, of course, government is about giving hope to the people. And giving hope is in the book we call this budget. But most times we don't hold government accountable for all they've said in the budget. So what does that mean to me is that when the implementation proper comes into play, soon and very soon, will now begin to touchlight and say, Diola, who shared this committee? You said this then. Can we have this? But then, it is quite unfortunate that in this environment, we don't hold government accountable. We don't hold the people accountable. Okay? Why not so? You know, budget is a very copious book, very voluminous. What that means, in fact, I was even wondering on my way here, I said, look, how could have these people gone into the book and itemized all this overnight? But it's okay. Whichever way it is, and all the money budgeted has been appropriated to all the MDAs. If it were well implemented, all well and good. We are good. We are dry and we are home and dry. Okay, but then our worry is how are they going to implement this? Adela has said that this will take care of certain errors in the dollar ecosystem, wahala and all that. We wait.
All right,
holding a breath.
Let's look at the issue of inflation and the standard of living. So finally, do you actually see this budget, you know, because every Nigerian, that is what they care about. That is all they care about. Yes. So do you see this budget improving the life of, you know, every Nigerian out there?
Look, the essence of every government is the care of the people and their property. So as we speak, cost of living and standard of living are very low, abysmally low. So, and if every budget is well implemented, it will take care to a certain extent the sufferings of the people. And like he said the efficiency of the budgeting and the full implementation on the macro level. We need to do something. As we speak, business is suffering in Nigeria, and every government should remember that no government don't employ at all. It is the informal sector that employs. And what do you do to the informal sector? Make business environment very friendly for them, make investments encouraging, present a livable environment for them. As we speak, if you go to a bank, no bank is willing to give you money or to sponsor any project for you. Why so? Because we have a skilled environment. We have a skilled system that is very toxic to the life of a businessman. Until we right so many of these wrongs, I'm sure we might not go far. But then, if we have been assured by this present budgeting that, look, it has actually encapsulated all the errors of the past, and we are going to look at it and they will be fully implemented. Every businessman in Nigeria, as we speak, is going through a lot. Recently, some people's homes were demolished. Sorry, not home. Some people have businesses, shops and all that were demolished in Computer Village. What is the fate of those people now? All gone. That is a warped system we are talking about. A situation where people are not actually created for eventualities. Because the people you've thrown out now, when they come back, they sit on nothingness. So, and we are saying this life of anyhowness will stop. When it stops, the environment will be very, very conducive for everyone. Which one will you talk? We talk about, I saw some part that we are talking about energy and all that, renewable energy. We can have all this here. All of them can be here. So until a businessman is taken care of in a very large in fact, government should know that government don't employ, and that is the fact. Employment comes by those in the informal sector, and if their life is made good, is made livable and all that, everybody on the street will disappear.
Right, Josh doesn't look satisfied.
Because the computer village you just mentioned is another story for another day. Because why they chose to go and demolish shops owners in the wee of the hour is yet to be unraveled.
Okay, now
let's not go into that. That's just on the lighter note anyway. That's just on the lighter note.
He actually blames the government.
Yes.
They're not catering for it.
And let me tell you, in fact, that part actually was lumped on poor. But who are these poor? Who are the poor? Police Officers Wife Association. Who are they? What are they bringing to the government's table? Because each power is being controlled by the wife of the IGP. IGP's tenure is 4 years, meaning that after these 4 years, the imbroglio that these people suffered now might even resurface or repeat itself because
another tenure
is coming from another IGP. So the problem continues until we begin to rectify. In fact, our problem is endemic and foundational. We must crumble this foundation and have a rethink.
All right,
until we have that rethink, certain things will not work. Indices will keep climbing, but then at lower ebb, we have nothing.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Zigibe.
Thank you so much.
iBrand Daybreak continues after this break. Just stay with us.